High-functioning anxiety is a form of anxiety that's often masked by achievements and a seemingly organized life. People who experience this type of anxiety might excel at work, keep their social lives active, and appear calm under pressure, but internally, they're constantly dealing with stress, overthinking, and the fear of failure. Whether you're trying to better understand your own experiences or those of someone close to you, recognizing these 10 signs is the first step toward managing and addressing this often overlooked condition. First, please subscribe to Brain Blitz for more content on wellness and health tips. Perfectionism is a hallmark of high-functioning anxiety. Individuals with this type of anxiety often set unrealistically high standards for themselves, driven by an intense need to perform flawlessly in everything they do. It's not just about wanting to do well, it's about feeling like anything less than perfect is unacceptable. This constant pressure to meet these sky-high expectations can be exhausting, as they push themselves to their limits, striving for an ideal that's often impossible to reach. You might find yourself spending way too much time on a simple task, tweaking and refining every little detail because it doesn't feel good enough yet. Even when others praise your work, you might be overly critical of it, focusing on minor flaws that no one else notices. This perfectionism can spill over into all areas of life, from work projects to personal goals, leaving you feeling like you're never quite living up to your own standards. It's a relentless drive that can lead to burnout and stress, even though on the outside, it might look like you've got everything under control. Overthinking is a common struggle for those with high-functioning anxiety. It's like your mind is constantly stuck in overdrive, analyzing every situation, decision, and interaction. Instead of just letting things go, you find yourself replaying conversations in your head, dissecting every word and wondering if you said the right thing. This overanalysis can lead to a never-ending loop of worry, where you're always second-guessing yourself and imagining the worst-case scenario. For example, after a meeting or social interaction, you might spend hours replaying what was said, wondering if you came across the right way or if you missed something important. You might worry about how others perceive you, thinking they're judging you for even the smallest mistake. When it comes to making decisions, this overthinking can cause you to agonize over every option, fearing that you'll make the wrong choice and regret it later. It's exhausting to constantly be in your head, analyzing every detail, but it's hard to break free from the cycle. One of the most defining features of high-functioning anxiety is the constant worry that never seems to switch off. It's like having a background noise of anxiety that hums in your mind, no matter what you're doing. Even when things are going well, there's this nagging feeling that something could go wrong, and you find yourself worrying about every possible scenario, often focusing on the worst-case outcomes. This relentless worry isn't just about big issues, it extends to the smallest details, making it hard to relax and enjoy the present. You might find yourself constantly anticipating problems that haven't even happened yet, like worrying about how a conversation might go days before it actually happens. Even in moments that should be enjoyable, your mind is preoccupied with what could go wrong in the future, whether it's a meeting at work, a social event, or even just the tasks you have to get done later. This constant worry can make it difficult to be fully present, as you're always mentally preparing for potential challenges, no matter how unlikely they are. It's like you're always on alert, unable to fully let your guard down. High-functioning anxiety often creates a paradox where procrastination and overachievement go hand in hand. On one hand, the pressure to achieve something perfectly can cause you to delay starting a task. The fear of not doing it right or failing can be so overwhelming that you put it off until the last possible moment. But then, when the deadline looms, that same anxiety kicks into overdrive, leading to intense bursts of productivity. It's a cycle where you might struggle to get started, but once you do, you push yourself to the limit to ensure everything is done perfectly. For instance, you might avoid starting a big project because the thought of all that could go wrong is paralyzing. Days or even weeks pass, and the deadline is approaching fast. Suddenly, you find yourself pulling an all-nighter, working non-stop to make sure every detail is just right, because failure isn't an option. The task that you delayed out of fear now consumes you as you work frantically to meet the deadline. This cycle of procrastination followed by overachievement can be exhausting, leaving you burned out but still striving to meet those impossibly high standards. Saying no can be incredibly difficult for someone with high-functioning anxiety. The fear of disappointing others or being seen as unreliable often leads to overcommitting. Even when they're already overwhelmed, the anxiety about letting someone down or not living up to expectations pushes them to take on more than they can handle. This can result in juggling too many responsibilities at once, leaving them stretched thin and struggling to keep up with everything. You might find yourself agreeing to take on extra projects at work, even when your plate is already full, because you're worried about how it will look if you say no. Or maybe you keep accepting social invitations, despite feeling drained, because you don't want to disappoint your friends or appear antisocial. This inability to say no can lead to burnout, as you're constantly trying to meet everyone's expectations, often at the expense of your own well-being. The pressure to always be available and dependable can become overwhelming, making it hard to balance your commitments and personal needs. High-functioning anxiety often makes it difficult to truly relax. There's a constant feeling of restlessness, as if you should always be doing something. Even when there's nothing pressing on your to-do list, it's hard to sit still without feeling uneasy or guilty. This need to stay busy can prevent you from taking the breaks you need to recharge, leading to a cycle of constant activity and difficulty unwinding. You might find yourself filling every moment with tasks or projects, even when you don't really need to, simply because the idea of doing nothing feels uncomfortable. Taking a break might lead to feelings of guilt, as if you're being unproductive or wasting time. When you do try to relax, you might struggle to enjoy it, with your mind constantly racing about what you should be doing instead. Whether it's watching a movie, reading a book, or even trying to sleep, that sense of restlessness can make it hard to fully disconnect and relax. A strong desire to please others is a common sign of high-functioning anxiety. This often manifests as a need to meet everyone's expectations, even if it comes at the expense of your own well-being. Individuals with high-functioning anxiety may go out of their way to ensure that others are happy, sometimes bending over backward to avoid disappointing anyone. This constant drive to be liked and accepted can lead to taking on too much, saying yes when you really want to say no, and suppressing your own needs to keep the peace. You might find yourself going out of your way to meet a colleague's request, even when it means sacrificing your own time or energy. Or maybe you agree to help a friend with a project, despite having a packed schedule, because you don't want to let them down. Avoiding conflict is another common behavior. You might hold back your true opinions or go along with what others want just to keep everyone happy. Over time, these people-pleasing tendencies can lead to burnout and resentment, as you continuously prioritize others' needs over your own. High-functioning anxiety doesn't just affect the mind, it can also take a toll on the body. Often, the constant stress and worry manifest as physical symptoms that can be just as challenging to deal with as the mental strain. These physical symptoms might include muscle tension, frequent headaches, or digestive issues. The body's response to ongoing anxiety can lead to a range of discomforts that are easy to overlook or attribute to other causes, but they're often directly linked to the anxiety itself. You might notice that you're frequently clenching your jaw or grinding your teeth, leading to jaw pain or tension headaches. This muscle tension can extend to your shoulders and neck, causing chronic stiffness and discomfort. Digestive problems are also common, with anxiety often leading to stomach issues like nausea, bloating, or even irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. These physical symptoms can become a regular part of life, adding to the stress and making it even harder to relax and unwind. Recognizing these physical signs is important, as they're often the body's way of signaling that anxiety is taking a toll. An intense fear of failure is a powerful driver behind high-functioning anxiety. This fear can be so overwhelming that it fuels perfectionism, pushing individuals to go above and beyond in everything they do. The idea of not succeeding, or worse, letting others down, can create a constant need for reassurance and validation. This fear of failure often leads to over-preparing, second-guessing, and avoiding new challenges altogether, as the possibility of not excelling is too daunting to face. You might avoid taking on new projects or responsibilities because the thought of not being perfect at them terrifies you. Even when you do push yourself to try something new, you might find yourself obsessing over every detail, afraid that any mistake will be seen as a failure. Seeking constant validation from others becomes a way to cope with this fear. You might frequently ask for feedback or reassurance to make sure you're on the right track. This fear can be so strong that it holds you back from pursuing opportunities or taking risks, leaving you stuck in your comfort zone despite your desire to achieve more. People with high-functioning anxiety often maintain a jam-packed schedule as a way to keep their anxiety at bay. By staying constantly busy, they can avoid confronting the underlying worries and fears that fuel their anxiety. It's almost as if they're using their busy schedule as a distraction, filling every moment with work, social activities, or hobbies so they don't have to face the thoughts that surface during quiet or downtime. This constant busyness can seem productive, but it's often a coping mechanism to manage the anxiety bubbling just below the surface. You might notice yourself filling your calendar with back-to-back meetings, social events, or new projects, even when you're already feeling overwhelmed. The idea of having free time can be uncomfortable because it allows your mind to wander to anxious thoughts. So instead, you keep yourself occupied, always finding something to do, whether it's work-related tasks, running errands, or picking up new hobbies. Even on weekends or days off, you might struggle to sit still, always looking for the next activity to keep you busy and your mind distracted from the anxiety that lurks in the quiet moments. If you found this video informative and helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your feedback and support mean a lot and help us continue to bring you valuable content. If any of these signs resonate with you, take a moment to reflect on your experiences. It might be worth considering seeking help from a professional, whether that's through therapy, counseling, or other supportive resources. Understanding your anxiety is the first step to managing it, so don't hesitate to reach out if you need support. And if you missed it, check out our previous video, 10 Hidden Signs of ADHD in Adults. Do you have it? It's packed with insights that you might find really eye-opening. Thanks so much for watching and for being a part of our community. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you in the next video.